Good morning. Thank you for joining. Give me a few minutes to share this and we will get started on the single man. As I promised yesterday, after doing the single woman, I said I was going to do one on a video or live broadcast on the single man so that we can begin to understand how to help each other build healthier relationships. Yesterday I shared on the single man. Today, on the single woman. Today I'm sharing on the single woman. For those of you who may be watching and may not know me, my name is Kemi. I'm a certified professional coach, a multi-award winning author, and an international speaker on relationship issues. My purpose in life is to help others find who they are, experience love prior to being in a relationship or while in a relationship, and to build healthier relationships that will make their lives become better, not bitter. This morning I'm sharing on the single man. The man was created before the woman was created. The man was equipped with everything he needed to survive on earth. The man was able to feed himself, take care of himself, nurture himself, and grow himself prior to the woman coming. When the woman was brought forth, she was brought out of the man. The man was put to sleep to bring out a helpmate. And so what happens is when you recognize your helpmate, not your soulmate. Again, I explained yesterday, your soulmate is somebody you tie your soul to when you have sex outside of the real deal, why the relationship was created for. And when you identify your soulmate, you really understand that she was brought out of you, and that you are the covering to that rib that was missing from you. You recognize her as the woman meant to complement you and to support you to fulfill your God-given purpose, and to also birth the purpose of your relationship into life so that you can build better, you can build stronger, and you can build healthier without being toxic to each other. But what happens is that we have that foundation of our upbringing, of our background, of our culture, of the tradition, of the society, that may not be the solid foundation that we have observed. And as a man, you've learned so much that yes, you're supposed to man up. And man up doesn't mean you have to be egoistical. Man up just means you have to be you. You have to be grown. You have to be mature. Hi, Aisha. Thanks for joining. So what happens is when you realize as a man you were equipped enough to recognize the woman that was brought to you, but the foundation that you grew up in may not be solid enough. It's like building on a house. The foundation has cracks, and you know if you build on a house on that foundation, it's going to collapse not too long after you build it. So what you do as a man is redefine that foundation, not based on the values that you were taught, because those are not your values. The values you grew up with are not necessarily your own values, because you have to find you to be able to identify your own values as a man. And without identifying your values as a man, what happens is you get into a relationship with a woman when you are not ready. You haven't built on your own foundation. You haven't learned the lessons that you need to learn. You haven't grown enough to be mature enough to understand what your purpose is. And you get into a relationship, you don't identify your, hi Kemi, I see you. You don't identify your covering, your rib. You are supposed to be a woman's covering. What happens is when you don't identify yourself as that covering and you don't identify her as a rib, you expose her. And she does expose you. Expose her because, again, you are bringing forth her nakedness. You're not being a covering to her, but you're exposing her by using, sleeping, dumping, and hurting her. And when you hurt a woman, what you do at that moment is to expose her, then cover her. Because you aren't the covering that she needed. And this happens from teenage years when boys begin to play. And every relationship at the teenage year may not really be a steady one. It may be toying around to really find who you are, toiling around to fitting into a group, toiling around just to make sure that, your clique says, yeah, go have sex, prove yourself to be a man, but that's not really becoming a man. And as a single man, it is very vital that you understand the basics so that you build and you actually find your own true bone, your own true rib, without really messing up somebody else's rib and actually hurting yourself because you're not covering, you're tying your soul in the process. I've documented this in all my books if you want to get them and read them. So you were created to be a covering, like I said. But when you sleep with her with no intentions of being in a committed relationship, like I said, you're exposing her, then covering her. You're hurting her, then covering her. You're bringing out the worst in her and not helping her find herself. Why you are also not finding yourself? Because what happens is she hurts your feelings with the words and you grow some wound that may not heal before you actually tap into the next woman that you meet. And without really healing, without allowing yourself to learn the lessons, without allowing yourself to grow, what happens is your ego, based on your fears and your insecurity, overshadow your real person, the real you. And what happens in that moment is you begin to live as your alter ego, not your real self. And it becomes difficult because you've experienced some fear. Either somebody broke you and you're not able to recognize or connect to the real you, and you begin to search and you begin to hurt more people because you carry pain and you're not healing from the pain. Like I said, you cannot build on a foundation that is broken. If you grew up in a broken environment, a broken home, that foundation is broken, and all the values that you can take from that environment is the brokenness that you're surrounded by and with. And so your own foundation and the values you have are also broken, but you have to learn to build again, to begin all over so that your foundation, when you want to get into a relationship, is solid enough. But most men, like I shared yesterday, are insecure, and because they are insecure, it becomes harder for them to take the time to heal. And so women say there are not good men out there. There are good men out there, but the good men may have been hurt, but because they haven't healed, you're not able to see their goodness because they haven't found themselves. They are also on the search, on the verge of knowing who they are. But without knowing you, and you're trying to be in a relationship with a woman who doesn't know herself yet, what you create is chaos than a relationship. And you cannot create chaos and think that peace will rule in that environment. You can never love anyone in pain. A quote from Beyond the Pain. You can never love anyone when you're in pain, not even yourself. Until you learn to heal your wounds, until you learn to embrace the lessons, until you come to that humble place where you're saying to yourself, I'm ready to learn and find me. Any relationship you get into will have chaos in it. Until you build your foundation on the basis of love for yourself, you can never truly love anyone else. Either you're a man, either you're a woman. It applies to both. But today I'm talking to the men. So sometimes you don't heal. And as long as you don't heal, you're going to keep going to the women until you're exhausted. And when you're exhausted, you find yourself sitting in a place where you can't really deal with the answers, but you just want to be by yourself. You've exposed yourself to hurt, and you've exposed the woman to hurt, then cover her because you're meant to be the covering for the rib that is your helpmate. And so what happens when you're exposed? You hide behind the ego. You hide behind the fear of getting into another relationship, the fear of finding a woman that will love you. I do get men that I coach who tell me that. And I'm sure there are more men going through it than we speak, because men don't speak out as much as we women do. We women tend to show our emotions. Men tend to hide behind their emotions. And when they hide behind their emotions, their ego is what you deal with than their real person. And so when you cannot really cover yourself, you cannot really cover a woman. Things you can do to help yourself. You have to work on you, to find you, to discover you, to unclog everything that you think you know, so that you can really get to the bottom, the root, and begin to build the foundation of your values, of your morals, of your character, of your integrity all over again. A woman will only respect you when you show her respect and you show her love. But when you do not know you, it becomes hard to really show her anything, because all you're trying to do is defend yourself and protect yourself. But she's there to support you, and you cannot really receive that love until you heal from the pain. It may be a childhood pain, it may be an adult pain, it may be pain from rejection, it may be pain from somebody hurting you, whatever pain it is. It may be pain from your parents. But as a man, you have to heal from all of that to be able to establish that foundation with a woman who was created to help you, support your vision, birth life into you while you're birthing life into her to grow. Number 1, heal from the past wounds. Number 2, let the woman know you're not ready and you're still working on yourself. There are men who do it. There are men who say to a woman, I'm not ready, but the woman also has to be able to understand what he means by that and process it. A man who is not ready for commitment will tell you, I'm not ready for commitment. Give me time to work on me. But as a man, you don't have to go out to play. Just let her know when you have no intentions of a committed relationship. Let her know that you're still working on you and you still need time. And when you explain to a woman, she understands then, become bothersome to you. She will understand where you are with yourself, and she will be able to reason with you. Don't let a woman exhaust herself. It takes a very long time for a woman to say, I'm not interested in a relationship anymore. Women don't quit right away. Women quit when they've exhausted their energy and they've tried every means to hold down that relationship. If I'm making sense to you, let me know, because I like to relate, and I just don't want to be a one-way talker. I want us to relate. Let me know with your comments, and let me know you're benefiting from this. Number 2, like I said, is to let her know. Don't let her become attached to you if you know you're not going anywhere with the relationship. Work on you rather than tie her down to you. Work on you. Learn to work on you. Learn to know you. Learn to love you. Learn to understand you. Learn to reevaluate your values and your standards, because those will change with your age, with time. Number 3 is to figure out what you need as a single man, because when you know what you need, it becomes easier for you to know the kind of woman you're inviting into your space, and you're not just hopping. You're not just trying. You're not just, tasting. Because when you do all the tasting, you're also uncovering yourself. You're also exposing yourself to so many things. There are so many diseases. There are so many spirits that you may not know. You have to test the spirit when you figure yourself out. Test the spirit. Test every spirit, the good book says. Test to know if this woman would actually match up with you. Ask the questions. Figure you out. Know you. Don't just focus on her based on the outward appearance, but get to connect with her character, connect with her spirit, connect with her soul to see if you are actually getting a compliment, somebody who's complimenting you, than just having somebody in your space. Communicate. Number one key to any vital, healthy relationship. Communicate. Men may not communicate most of the time. Again, they're logical thinkers, so they hold back their thoughts. But when you don't communicate in your relationship, you cannot build healthy. You're only going to have a woman who's going to try to exert as much pressure on you without you really relating to her by communicating. When you're upset, ask yourself the questions that's making you upset than taking it out on her and abusing her. Because sometimes when you have so much going on and you don't talk about it or you don't get support, you take out the anger on any woman you're with. I mean, women also do it. I talked about the women yesterday. Communicate. Sometimes you talk to yourself to get it out. Men don't get it out, and if you don't get it out, you can't really get beyond it. If you have so much pain inside and you're covering it with buying gadgets and stuff, the pain doesn't go away, and anything doesn't go away. It just compounds on the problem. Communicate, get support where needed. Love yourself enough so that you can know what you need. Find yourself, discover you. When you know what you need, it becomes easier for you to know the kind of woman you would invite into your space without allowing somebody to come and play on you, because men also get played on. Don't have unrealistic expectations set, because most of the time you may think, I need a woman to help me do this and do that. But you have to be self-sufficient before she shows up. Before she shows up, you will feeding yourself. So when she comes in, she's not only here to cook, clean, and take care of you. She is also human. You are also there to take care of her. Support her with the chores. It only builds better. I shared on the couples video last year. When you support a woman with things that you're doing, your relationship builds better. Communication flows much easier. Support her vision, support her goal. Never get intimidated by a woman's progress. Remember, the world makes you think that you have a woman who intimidates you financially or physically is a threat to you. No. Your helpmate may be financially sufficient than you are. Again, she's a helpmate. She's supposed to support you. But when you don't see that, you may walk out on your blessing because you're not allowing yourself to become humble enough to receive what God wants to give to you as a man. Never get intimidated by a woman, but always find to make sure that you're actually with the woman you're meant to be with. That reduces you from tying your soul to different people. And when you actually meet someone who may be for you, you may be comparing them to someone that you've tied your soul to because you haven't untied your soul yet. You can only untie your soul when you begin to heal. Learn to forget the past. Don't bring anybody from your past into the present. Men do that. They also bring anything that's happened in a relationship prior. You did this yesterday. Yesterday is gone. Don't keep a record. Love doesn't keep a record of wrongs. It lets it go. Because every day, I shared on New Year's Day, every day is a brand new day. Every second is a brand new second. But when you don't discard the old, you only compound on the new. You only bring problems that may never find solutions. And as long as you're focusing on the problem, there will never be a solution, because you can't focus on the problem and think that you will get solutions. You have to focus on the solutions that will help you resolve the problems. I just wanted to share that on the single man today. Again, let's continue to build on healthy relationships as we start the new year. Know what you're attracting, know what you need, know what you do not need, so you do not attract what you do not need. Take time to heal, take time to know you, love you, discover you, build on yourself, invest in building on yourself. prior to building on somebody else. The love you have for yourself is the love you will be able to give to someone else. The respect you have for yourself is the respect you will be able to give to someone else, and it will be reciprocated back to you. What you give is what you get. You cannot give what you don't have. I've documented it in all my books, Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, Being Single, and Beyond the Pain. And if you also want to get further with this, like I always say, feel free to inbox me, connect with me, coaching@kemisugunle.com, and I can support you on your journey going forward into 2017 to build on healthy relationships that will make you become better, not bitter. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.